Synthesis of Part 3 Assessment Center Method Study. People wonder why the former first couple, Barack and Michelle Obama, were close to ex-presidents George Bush and Bill Clinton and ex-Senator Hillary Clinton. What is of common interest among them? Michelle Obama, George Bush, Bill and Hillary Clinton are all members of the Alpha Phi Omega fraternity and sorority. What's the catch again? If you know people, you know how things work. Let's shift the personalities in the assessment center history. You have read in Chapter 8 the names of Dr. Max Simoneit, Dr. Douglas Gray, Dr. Willam C. Bayham, and Dr. Tina Rowe-Lewis in the picture. By their names alone, you can figure out the history of the assessment center method. The assessment center method was the brainchild of Dr. Max Simoneit, a German scientist. He studied it all during World War II. Then the Brits, the Americans, South Africans, Europeans, and Asians followed suit. But it was Dr. Douglas Bray who applied the method in industrial assessments. Then Willam C. Bayham teamed up with Dr. Bray to come up with the version that serves as the template for assessment centers all over the whole world. A bit later, Dr. Tina Rowe-Lewis wrote a book, Preparation Guide for Assessment Centers, which became the Bible for this method. That was assessment center method history in a capsule. When you know people, half of the work is done. In Chapter 8, what is the concept of the assessment center method? I discussed these topics: history of the assessment center, CES Competency Framework, components of the assessment center method, proof of validity of the method, 6 basic methodical concepts of the method, assessment center terminology, and types of assessment centers. All creators of assessment centers must formulate a competency framework from where the KSAS spring from. They must adapt the essential components that make an assessment model valid, and it must blend with the 6 methodical concepts. In that ebook, I showed you further the proofs of validity of assessment centers, terminologies used, and the types of assessment centers. The wisdom of this presentation lies in its purpose of making you visualize the assessment center, how it was created, how it is conducted, who are the people involved, and what is its objective as part of the review strategy. The knowledge that you will get from Part 3 will shape your reactions to the situations that will be introduced in the exercises. As I said earlier, to know how things work, you must know the people behind these things. This right combination shall level up your preparation for the AC. It amazes me how candidates can pass the AC without knowing the concept of the assessment center method. It is like going on an African safari without a tour guide. Somebody will be eaten by a lion or trampled upon by a herd of wild elephants. Now, how will you determine the best approach if you do not even know what competencies are? Are they different from dimensions of KSAS? Or are they one and the same, but with different names? You cannot guess through the AZ. It is not our speed that will make you pass the AC. The moment you dream of becoming a CESO, don't immediately take the AC without strategic preparation. It is agility. Crisis demands agility. Many of us confuse speed with agility. We often use the term speed of response. Speed makes you rush. It is thoughtless, undirected effort driven by panic or excitement, where information sensing, processing, and decision making are short circuited and it tires you out soon. Agility is the responsiveness driven by intellect, not impulse. It means continuously sensing and picking mission critical information, assessing and anticipating, and lining up alternatives. It means adapting to the emerging twists and turns, learning and correcting course, and acting decisively. Agility drives you to cut the clutter and zoom in on the core. It allows you to concentrate resources and efforts, make a few but productive moves, mobilize support, and put in place flexible structures which morph according to the emerging demands of the crisis without being trapped into a set piece playbook. This is what American President Roosevelt adopted during the Great Depression. He directed his task force to meticulously work out the plans without feeling rushed by public pressure or the media review. Much before the Japanese, he emphasized that agility comes from the quality of information processing, as the information is unraveling and having fluid, adaptable plans. Conversely speaking, a CES candidate must resist the urge to take the AC without the right preparation. In this case, one must understand the concept of the assessment center method and use this knowledge to create a personal approach to the assessment exercises. If you know the concept, you can work around the assessment challenges. It makes things simpler and more practical. Let me share with you a widely circulated story from the early 2000s. A philosophy professor gave an unusual test to his class. He lifted his chair onto his desk and wrote on the board simply, "Prove that this chair does not exist." The class had to work composing long, complex explanations, except one student who took just 30 seconds to complete and hand in his paper, attracting surprised glances from his classmates and the professor. Some days later, the class received their grades for the test. The student who took 30 seconds was judged the best. His answer was, "What chair?" The story is one of several similar urban myths which make fun of supposedly high-minded theorizing and academia, in which an apparently very difficult or impossible question is defeated by a very simple, quick, and clever answer. I use this story to make you see that strategy is the most powerful tool for solving problems or facing challenges. One of the strategies in passing the assessment center is to study part 3 of the ebook, The Assessment Center Method.